I had a really good upbringing. Yeah, I was always provided for, like shoes, clothes, food, sent off to school, kiss on the head, that sort of stuff. Really, with me, more than anything, I could never really do what my mum was asking me to do. I struggled with discipline. I struggled with order. And I never had a father. My father had passed away when I was very young, 2 years of age. And I grew up with mum, and in some ways I was always a bit embarrassed around mum. Mum would say things and would make me feel a little bit uncomfortable and all that. I totally lost respect for her. And I started really saying, you can't tell me what to do. But eventually what happened for me, I bumped in with a little group of friends on an estate that I was living on at that time. And it was a lot to do with around solvent abuse. And then eventually I bumped into two people called Terry and John. And they were a little bit older than me, and they used to sit on the little bench in the park, and they used to have their little music thing, and they would roll up joints, zoots, and they would start to smoke cannabis and all that. And like, I was a little bit younger than them, and I can remember when they called me over, and as I ran over there towards them, it's like I was getting bigger. It was like I was feeling like a part of something, felt accepted and wanted to be involved. And it made me feel like I was the Jack the lad kind of thing, I know Terry and John, I know them older ones in the park. And that was like my kind of speech, really. I wanted to kind of be a part of something. And obviously they were smoking weed, and they let me smoke some of it. I can remember when I first started smoking it, cannabis this is, and I started coughing and all that, but I did like the sensation in some way of how it made me feel. My problem is that I had no funds. I didn't have any money. I didn't really have any way of getting money, and I didn't really have a lot. My mum used to have a handbag, and she used to carry the handbag and like put it down around the house and things like that, yeah. And that's when I really started to get into that first thing of unclipping her purse. But things were accelerating. Different drugs were coming involved, different things. I was chasing after stuff, and I remember I got involved with somebody, and kind of like, it was the first time that I thought it was oil. I thought it was some kind of cannabis oil, but it wasn't. It turned out to be heroin. And I started smoking that, and eventually what happened, I suppose any conscience that I did have started to evaporate away. I started to lose it, and I started not to be so, I didn't really care anymore. And it was like, it was either I've got to have it, and that was it, I've got to have it. I've got to have it. You don't understand, I need it, I've got to have it. I just went from a stage of sleeping on different people's couches and different people's homes, ending up in prison for stealing cars, and kind of like just kind of went on a conveyor belt where I thought, that's my lot. This is how it is. That's the card I've been dealt with. That's how it is. Yeah, this I'm not going to change. That's just how I am. Yeah, I didn't have any job prospects. Didn't leave school with any education or anything like that. Struggled to spell basic words. Struggled to read and write. So when I found substances, I just sort of found a new world, and then I found something that I thought had sort of solved them issues in some ways. But my problem was there was always consequences to it. And as being a young person, yeah, I never even got my foot up on the first run, really. I just stayed on that thing, and I got into a life of where I was used to getting on the prison bus. I started finding out that I was becoming more and more weaker, and I was becoming more and more fearful, and I run a lot more scenarios through my head. And the drugs were causing me kind of like weird dreams and moments when I didn't really remember where I was. I ended up dying 4 times, different times. Yeah, one time was in the back of the ambulance. I'd gone out and I'd drunken about half a bottle of vodka, a small little bottle. And I took some drugs and that in the cocktail, and it put me over, and I'd collapsed. And I was in a house with someone, and someone had rang the ambulance. And the ambulance come, and it took me to the hospital. And I can remember coming round, and I had all the tubes all over me and everything like that. And I would just kind of get up and walk out, and just like, think, oh, that was lucky, or I've had a touch, or I'm okay, or whatever. A lady did a bank shift. One bank shift. She come and done a bank shift. And I spoke to her, and I said a little bit about my background and what had gone on in my life. And she said to me she might know some people who can help me. She says I might know some people, and the next day this bloke turned up in a little red car. He said, open your hands up, Andy. And I opened my hand up like that, and he put a set of front door keys to his house in my hand. And when he did it, I cracked.